Hello everyone. Today we are here to discuss your 12th board preparation tips for your English paper. We're going to start off with the marks distributions that are there. Firstly, your English paper is going to be of 100 marks in total, which will be divided into two subsections. Your written paper, which is for 80 marks, and then you have your oral exams, which are going to be conducted for 20 marks. Moving ahead, we will be discussing the syllabus at length for your English paper. Starting off with the prose section, which has these chapters: An Astrologer's Day, which is a relatively very easy. It consists of a story. On Saying Please is more of an essay type, which includes a little difficult vocabulary as well. Then we have the Cop and the Anthem. Similar to the Astrologer's Day, it is in form of a story. So it's easy to understand with easy language as well. Big data, big insights. Is again an essay type of question or an essay type of chapter, which gives you information on a certain topic. The New Dress is the difficult chapter, if you could say, in your syllabus. It is written in a stream of consciousness point of view, and it focuses on vocabulary which is newly introduced to you. You have Into the Wild, again in a form of a story. Why We Travel is again in an essay format with vocabulary which is a little extensive from what you are usually used to. And then we have Voyaging Towards Excellence, which is again a easy chapter which consists of a story format. Your section 2 is your poetry section, starting with Song of the Open Road, Indian Weavers, Inchcape Rock, which is again a poem which is very long but easy to understand. Have You Earned Your Tomorrow, Father Returning Home, Money, She Walks in Beauty, and Small Towns and Rivers. Small Towns and Rivers and She Walks in Beauty again consists of a little different central idea than what we are used to while studying the previous poems. In section 3, you have your summary writing, which is a compulsory question in your unseen passage. Then mind mapping, which is again a compulsory question in your unseen passage. Note making has been omitted from your 12th standard. It was a part of your previous year question paper, but it isn't a part of your 12th standard board exam. Statement of purpose, which is again given in your textbook. According to the examples, you'll have to study it. Drafting a virtual message and group discussion. Group discussion is not only a part of your written syllabus, but it is also a part of your oral one. And then you have your section 4, which includes history of novel, To Serve with Love, Around the World in 80 Days, and the Sign of Four, out of which Sign of Four is more of a complicated chapter with a lot of characters. So the brainstorming for this chapter is extremely essential. This entire covers your syllabus. Next is the blueprint and the distribution of your marks for your 80 marks written paper. Starting on with the prose section, which is of 32 marks along with the options. So there are no particular options that you have to select here. In poetry, again for 14 marks, full 14 marks with your options. Writing skills, you will be getting 12 writing skills in total, out of which you have to attempt any 4. Those 4 in total carry 16 marks, and in total, the 12 writing skills together carry 48 marks without options. Novel as a genre is for 16 marks, and there are no options over there. You have to attempt all of them. So your total also comes up to 16 only. So that makes up for your 80 mark paper, written paper, which is of 3 hours. A lot of students have doubts on how the writing skills marks are divided. Each of your writing skills are going to be of 4 marks, and the highest you can score is 3 to a 3.5. On the basis of language and everything, your half mark is deducted. It is a compulsion. Starting off with email writing, as you can see on the screen, that the marks division are as follows: that your content, the message that you are writing in the email, it is of 2 marks. If you have used the proper format which has been discussed in the class, you write your from, to, then your CC, BCC, your subject, 3 paragraphs in total, then your closure, attachments, enclosure, all of this will carry 1 mark. And your presentation, which also includes your writing, your handwriting is also a part of your overall presentation. Because by the time you'll reach the end of the paper towards writing skills, you have very limited time and you are in a rush to complete the entire section. So your handwriting goes for a toss. So please make sure that your presentation also includes the handwriting. In the formats for the same, we will discuss later on. We have report writing, which follows the same marking scheme. It is an essay type writing skills with 2 marks for your content, 1 mark for your accuracy of language. Report is to be written in the past tense. So tenses are extremely important here, and the appropriateness of the content that you have given in the report, whether you have covered all the important points, when the report, when the event had taken place, at what time, and the other important details. If you have mentioned it appropriately, then your 1 mark is guaranteed over here. Then you have art of comparing. So in your 12th standard board paper, you will be getting a mix of or the entire syllabus of your 11th and 12th standard writing skills. Comparing is your 11th standard writing skill. The marks distribution are as follows, where you have 2 marks for your connecting events. You have a connecting statement which has been discussed with you all. So for that statement, you have 2 marks. Impressive introduction, it carries 1 mark, and your conclusion carries 1 mark. Summing up is what carries the marks. So in total, we have 4 marks. Then you have your appreciation, drafting a virtual message. It goes for same. Content is for 2 marks over here. Virtual message is written in a very short, this thing, 2 4 lines ka writing skill hai. So in that 2 marks is for your content. Whether you have written the entire message correctly, all the points are there in the message, or maybe you have forgotten a certain point. The sequence, the more important message should come first, followed by the less important one. And the use of your language, whether you are using the correct tense, because if you are drafting a message, it has to be in the past tense. So based on that, you will be getting your marks. Followed by appeal writing, which is a very scoring writing skill. You can, in your paper, you may either get appeal, you may either get leaflet, pamphlet, brochures, everything, it follows the same content. Your presentation over here is extremely important. You can use any kind of creativity like drawings or use of different handwriting like calligraphy or cursive. Along with that, you have your language. So you are allowed to use Hindi words in English using English alphabets. So that's your covering of language, whether you have written in proper format or not. And inspiring and motivational message. For example, if you have to make an appeal on save water, so the message that you're portraying in your appeal should be motivational enough. You can use phrases, idioms, or any other motivational lines that you have come across or you have read previously. In your writing skills, that is a part of your creative writing, you also have your appreciation over here. In appreciation, what you are going to, how the marks is distributed is that the theme and the language features not only of your appreciation, but also of the poem. You have mentioned the proper theme, you have mentioned all the 6 points that are there. These points you will find it at the end of every poem in your textbook. It starts from about the poem, poet, title, goes on to the theme, special features, style of the poem, your message, opinion of the poem. So all of these 6 points are there at the end of the text. Then you have your personal opinion. The last point in your appreciation talks about personal opinion. So that opinion should be strong enough. It shouldn't be like of 2 lines where you write that I feel that the poem is good enough, or I feel that the poem is nice and motivational. If you write something as simple as that, then it is not counted. You need to give a solid opinion on the poem where you are showcasing all the flaws and the pros of the poem. So that comes up to your appreciation. Review writing is again the content, the marks distribution is the presentation, the storyline. If you've written all the information, you have the technical novel aspects like the name of the director, the name of the producer, the actors, when the film was out, how much did it cross, how much money did it make. All of these minute details are what we call as your technical and novel aspects, and the overall presentation. It's an essay type of a writing skills. So you need to divide it into 3 paragraphs, approximately 1.5 page. You have blog writing next. Blog writing content is extremely important. For example, if the given topic is save environment, so you can also include steps to save environment in your blog. The format, the header, footer, the entire format carries 1 mark each. If anything from that format is missing, which has been discussed already, then your marks are bound to get deducted. After that, you have interview writing. Interview writing is again a very scoring writing skill. 2 marks are for framing the question. One is for language. If you've used proper formal language, please do not use informal one. And you have the overall impression. If the interview writing is usually in a tabular format, so if you've drawn the table correctly, if you have made it presentable enough, then it's a very scoring writing skill. Speech again is essay type. You have logical sequence of ideas in the sense that if your topic is Independence Day, then you start off with a proper introduction. Why do we celebrate? Then what do we do on Independence Day? So it should follow a logical sequence. You cannot you cannot conclude your speech and then say that, okay, some other lines are still left. Introduction, like I said, addressing the proper dignitaries that are present in the hall, and a solid conclusion. You may end your speech with a phrase or an idiom or any proverbs that you know. That is also acceptable. The last one is expansion of idea, which is again a writing skill, which is an essay type consisting of 3 paragraphs up to 1.5 page. All your writing skills will mostly, whichever is essay type, will be of 1.5 page consisting of 3 paragraphs. Then in expansion of idea, how you are expanding that particular proverb, what examples you are giving, how are you explaining that proverb in simple language, and then your conclusion that is there is what carries the marks distribution of 2, 1, 1, which is equal to 4. The major part of the paper where y'all are bound to make mistakes are grammar. It's an application-based question. So most of your grammar syllabus is written in the PPT. From these topics, I will tell you which ones are more important. So you have types of sentences: simple, compound, complex. In other types of sentences, we have assertive, negative. Assertive is positive, negative, affirmative, exclamatory, interrogative. So types of sentences usually come with options. We will discuss this when we do the PYQ. Active and passive voice also is a very important topic. Model auxiliary, if you are doing model auxiliary, always do the auxiliary with the function. For example, if you are studying the auxiliary must, so what is the function of must? When is it used? Always study the auxiliary with the function. It would be easier for you in the paper because the question that is formed, we will see it in the PYQ where the function is also mentioned. Tense is a relatively very easy topic. It has a chart which is readily available anywhere, and it has a certain formula that you follow in order to change the tense from one form to the other. Tenses in that you have transformation only. You can transform the given sentence from one tense to the other. Very rarely do they ask you to identify the given tense. Degree of comparison. This question usually comes in spot the error. So a sentence might be given to you and the degree of comparison might be a little different. So strong, stronger, strongest. These are your 3 degree of comparisons: positive, comparative, and superlative. General transformation of sentences like framing questions, framing WH question, joining 2 sentences, using not only but also, using so to, or using if. Then your do as directed, like they will ask you to remove a certain word from the sentence, like remove can, or they might ask you to add a word in the sentence, or they might ask you to begin the sentence with a particular word, like begin the sentence using the word can, or begin the sentence using the word should, like that. So these are your general transformation of sentences. The only rule in these type of sentences are that you need to do as you are directed in the question paper. If they are asking you to begin the sentence with a particular word, then please adhere to that instruction. Otherwise, you can change the sentence accordingly for grammatical correction, and do not change the meaning of the sentence while transforming. If they are telling you that, if the sentence is she must go to the gym, so if they are asking you to do something, if they're asking you to eliminate a word, the meaning of the sentence should not change. That is the base rule for all your grammar questions. Then here you have your direct and indirect speech, which is again a very important grammar topic. It always ends up in your board paper. You have infinitive and verb. Infinitive verb, that is to plus verb. Before any verb, you add the word to. It's not a very common topic, but if it does come, then it's extremely easy in scoring. Gerund is verb plus ing. Any verb with the function, the suffix of ing, becomes a gerund. Again, gerund is not a very popular topic in your board paper, but these do come once in a while. Participles, you have two types of participles, present and past. In infinitive, gerund, and participles, the questions can either be to identify what form of verb is this. Gerund is also a verb, type of verb. Participles are also type of verbs. So, what kind of verb is this? Or they might ask you to transform the sentence. Transform from gerund to infinitive, or transform from gerund to participles. These type of questions might come if these topics are to be coming in your paper. WH questions, something that you have been doing since your 10th standard. A word will be highlighted, or it will be underlined or bold. Your WH question should be framed in such a way where the underlined word is your answer. Rhetorical questions are different from WH questions. Students get confused between the two, and they often write similar questions for both of them. So these two are different concepts. Articles, your basic articles of a, an, and the. These last three topics of article, preposition, and clauses. Clauses, your main clause, subordinate clause. So these three topics again are not very popular in your paper, but they have, they come on regular intervals, or sometimes they do end up coming in the paper. If not as a part of proper grammar, then you have a question called spot the error. Again, in that question, it's a compulsory question. Spot the error will be there in your board paper. So in that question, usually you misuse the article and you have to correct. You have to spot the error. Like instead of an elephant, they might write a elephant, which is incorrect because you use an before a vowel, after a vowel. Prepositions, again, they might misuse a certain preposition and you might have to correct it. Clauses is a relatively less coming topic in your board paper. But if it does come, then you have your main clause, subordinate clause, and the different types of clauses. Clauses you have to learn anyways because you have simple, compound, complex, which is literally based on the concept of clauses if you want to understand that topic. So these are some of the common topics that end up in your board papers, and I have explained which topic is more important than the other. Your next slide is about list of activities for testing comprehension. When I say this, I mean your vocabulary that is there. and the basic objective type of questions, but mainly your vocabulary, that is your A6 question, which is there in your question paper, that is related to this. The first type of comprehension. Comprehension means how much you have understood of that particular passage. So for that understanding, these type of questions are framed. Even if you look at the blueprint of your HSC paper, you might have come across the word that the first question is always on global understanding. Global understanding is that once you have read the passage, how much have you understood? Will you be able to identify the theme? Will you be able to identify the central idea of that passage or the poem? Will you be able to arrange the events in chronological order? All of this are questions which come in comprehension and global understanding. The first type of question is complete the following sentences with the information from the text. These type of questions might usually come in a form of a web diagram, a flow chart, or a table might have been given to you and you have to complete that particular table from the information that is given in the passage. Please do not write anything on your own. Like, for example, if Astrologer's Day is given to you, a passage from that particular story is given to you, you know the entire story of that chapter. You know what had happened to the astrologer, you know what happened to Guru Nayak, but the information for now, you just have to take it from the passage, not the entire chapter. Your second is fill in the blanks with correct information from the passage. Again, a very self-explanatory question that is there. It is something similar to note making. The blanks in the middle will be empty. You just have to copy down the word. State whether the following statements are true or false and correct the false statements. Students over here get very confused until it is mentioned in your paper that you have to correct the false statement. Please do not go ahead and correct it, because if you correct it and the statement is wrong, you will end up losing marks. So in a rush, we often forget to see what is written in the question. Again, only if it is mentioned to correct the false statements, you have to do it. Otherwise, don't do it. And whenever you are attempting any objective questions, please see that you write the entire question and then your answer. Let's say, for example, if your question is that Guru Nayak or the astrologer was a fake astrologer, is the given statement true or false? So you will write down the entire question, which says that is Guru Nayak is the astrologer fake or not? And then besides it or below it, you will be writing down whether the statement is true or whether it is false. And if it's written that you have to correct the statement, then you can do so. Then, which of the following statements explain the theme of the extract? There might be 4 options given to you all, and you have to select which option explains the theme of the passage. Once again, this is question number 1 of every passage. It is based on global understanding. Global understanding means once you have read the passage, are you able to identify the theme? Are you able to identify what exactly the passage is on? Again, please pay attention over here. Following statements. It's a plural. So your answer will also be more than one. So if you find more than one answer correct, then you can write down. Do not write the option A, option B. Write down the complete sentence, the complete option. Arrange the following events in order. If you have understood the passage, you will be able to arrange the events in chronological order. Again, complete the following table is similar to the first question of web diagram and everything. Then you have match the pairs. You might be given the name of the author and the name of the novel. It might be there in the novel section. So you have to match it, complete the flow chart. Again, that is there. Then you have choose the correct reason. For example, if the question is that why did the astrologer decide to shift towns? And 4 options will be given to you and you have to select the right one. Again, this can be a part of your novel also. It's there in one of your brainstorming around the world in 80 days. Why did Phileas Fogg agree to take the bet? So 4 reasons will be given and you have to select the most appropriate one. Find the odd man out. Again, this odd man out is a part of your novel section. You might be given 3 to 4 Indian novelists and authors, and one might be a Western author. So based on that, you have to find the odd man out. These are the different types of questions, how it will be framed. Then you have supply the following information. Again, the same thing, that you will be given a particular table or you will be given a particular paragraph, and you have to fill in all the information that is there. Complete the table that is there of comparison. This is again a comparison for character sketches. How was the astrologer different from Guru Nayak, or how was the conductor in on saying please different from the other conductors, like that. Complete the table of cause and effect. This can be a part of a your poem section as well. That if something happened, what was the result for it? Like for example, in Cop and the Anthem, Soapy was not able to get arrested. So what was the result for it? Questions like that. Find from the passage evidence for the following statement. If the question is like that, the author liked traveling. This question is from Why We Travel. Which sentence proves that the author liked traveling? All of this from the passage, not from the entire story. You have to select from the passage a few lines which shows the evidence. Rewrite the sentence by correcting the words which are underlined. Again, it can be a spot the error question, or it can certain words might be wrong, the spelling or anything. You just have to look at all of these, the underlined word, and everything has to be done from the passage itself. Please do not answer on your own. Take words from the passage. That is what we call as keywords. Now, this is list of activities for testing vocabulary. This is your A6 question. The previous one that we discussed was A1, your global understanding. This is for A6. A6 is purely responsible for vocabulary. So what kind of questions can come from there is fill in the blank. You might be given a sentence and you have to add a synonym or an adjective or certain type of words to complete that given passage. Match the opposite words. It's either framed like this or they will tell you to use antonyms. Match the opposite words की जगह पे antonyms भी आ सकता है. Match the phrases with their meaning. The word meanings given in the blue box in your textbooks are what will help over here. Fill in the blanks with the appropriate phrases. Like, for example, the author said that we should travel in open solitude. This was said by George Santayana in your chapter Why We Travel. So, George Santayana has said, and a dash will be given. So, you have to write the most appropriate phrase over there from the passage. Give one word or give the meaning, or they can ask you synonyms. All three questions can be framed for these. Match the pairs of words having similar meaning, again synonyms. All of this you will be able to do when you learn the blue box that is there in your textbook. And also if you go through the chapter, one reading of the chapter is very essential. Replace the underlined word with appropriate word from the passage. Again, synonyms. Use prefix. Now they'll either tell you to make prefixes or use prefixes, or they will tell you to use noun form, adjective form, which is basically you have to add a prefix or a suffix to change the form. Put words of similar meaning in the boxes. Again, a concept of synonym. Put the words in ascending and descending order. This usually does not come, but it's basically what you could say that the most important action followed by the least important action. Form words from the given word register type, but this usually doesn't come up in your paper. Identify the word class parts of speech, whether the given word is adjective, it's a preposition, it's a pronoun, it's a noun, what type of noun. Again, a very less asked question. Find the odd word out. 3 words will be given related to the passage that is there. Like astrologers' professional equipments, it included a palmyra writing, it included cowrie shells, and one word would be a little odd. So that way, choose the correct spelling. You will only be able to do that if you have a good command over the language and if you've gone through your text. So this is your A6, consisted of all the vocabulary questions that can be asked. Out of these, you have all your antonyms and synonym types question. Like for example, match the opposite word, match the pairs of words having similar meaning, replace the underlined word with appropriate questions, prefixes, similar meaning, all of the synonyms and antonyms and give a meaning from the passage, give a word from the passage, which means all of these are your common questions that end up repeating in your board paper. Your important instructions that are to be followed while you are writing your board paper. First one is that all your answers should be in complete sentences. Even if it's a one word answer, you are, for example, if they ask you that was the astrologer an honest man? So even if the answer is a yes or no type of an answer, you're going to use complete sentence to write down the answer, that yes, the astrologer was an honest man, or no, the astrologer wasn't an honest man. So that is the first rule. Aside from that, when I say that you have to write answers in complete sentence, I also mean that you need to write down questions for objectives. True or false hai, match the following hai, or find the odd man out, MCQs. All of these are your objective type questions, and you need to write down the question and then the answer for it. Web diagram, flowcharts, table, etc. are to be presented exactly as they are with appropriate answers. This has been we've been telling you this, that anytime there is a web diagram in the question paper, if the web diagram is drawn using circles, please do not change it into squares or triangles or clouds. If it is a flow chart, if it's divided into 3 columns, all of this as it is, you have to draw it in your answer sheet. Do not change anything. What is there in the question paper, the diagram, the format of the diagram, do not change it at all. Use of color pens and pencils are not allowed. You can only use blue and black pen. If you're using a blue pen throughout the paper, use that ink only. Do not change ink in the middle of the paper. If you are giving me in grammar, like I said, that you have options. So if you're giving me 2 options or more than 2 options, like 3 or 4 options for one same answer, for example, if there is a figure of speech and you are confused that which figure of speech would be followed for this line, and you give me repetition also, you give me alliteration also, personification, imagery, all of it, then we are not accepting multiple answers to one question. MCQ भी अगर है तुम्हारे novel section में, you have MCQs. So if you're giving me option number B and C or A and D, then we are not accepting multiple answers for one same question. A lot of students ask me that, ma'am, in 10th standard, we were allowed to change the format for the writing. Like we could attempt question number 4 first, and then we could attempt question number 1. So is that allowed in 12th? It is not advisable at all. Please maintain the sequence of section, question numbers, activities. It is essential for your marking. When you change the sequence, your marks calculations are also deferred. So do not do that. In case you have any query, like let's say if you're attempting A1 and you are not very confident about it, you can always leave some space and continue with the next question. Let's say that you believe that A1 you require the entire page. That is completely fine. Leave the entire page and begin question A2 on the second page. You have a 28 pages ka answer booklet, which is more than enough for you to complete your entire paper, leaving a few spare pages ahead as well. So it's completely fine. Leave the pages, but do not break the sequence. Section 1, Section 2, Section 3, Section 4, let it go in order. Revealing any kind of contact details in the answer paper is not allowed. Only use imaginary names and everything while you are writing your paper. Imaginary names will especially come when you are doing your email, when you are writing other things like blog is there, all these things, all these writing skills that follow a format, and where phone number and any other personal detail is required. Even in appeal writing, at the below, you mention the details. Over there, you are supposed to write the phone number and everything. So make sure you do not reveal any kind of personal details. Aside from this, any markings or any writing in pencil, please erase it from your answer sheet. Usually students use pencil first to write the summary or to make the mind mapping and everything. If at all you are using pencil in your answer sheet, please erase the rough work. Underlining can only be done in pencil. Aside from that, all sorts of drawing, even of tables, even of any formats for writing skills, mind mapping, any drawing that is to be used in blog and appeal, everything will be done in pen only. Only underlining of important keywords can be done in pencil. Use one color ink only throughout. Do not change the ink. And blue and black is only allowed. No other color ink pen is allowed for your board paper. Here you have time management, which is extremely crucial because we have observed that students are not able to finish their English paper within the given span of 3 hours, which comes up to 180 minutes. The reason for this is because you all lose a lot of time in grammar. Your grammar concepts are not clear and you get confused during the paper. So, in order for you to apply those skills, you take a lot of time to identify whether the answer is right or wrong. The other place where you go wrong is your mind mapping. You are unable to think of points that are there, which you need to write 8 points or 4 points depending on the structure that you are selecting. So in mind mapping, also to think of the points, it takes a lot of time. Poem, there is a question that you need to compose a poem on your own. So that also takes up a lot of your time. Writing skills, you need to write 4 writing skills. So here a lot of time is wasted. You do not know your content very thoroughly, and for that reason, you end up taking a lot of time to decide whether the answer is correct or not. So this is how your marks are going, your time is going to be distributed. Your scene prose extract, which is of let's say 16 marks in total, you need to give it 25 marks, including your grammar. Your unseen prose extract, the second one, is for 18 marks, including grammar, summary, mind mapping, everything, 40 minutes. So you can time yourself. Before the board paper, you can attempt a few PYQs also to see how much time you are taking for each section, especially essay type questions like summary writing here, personal responses, and everything. Your scene poem extract, which is of 14 marks, should take you 25 minutes. Then you have your writing skills. In your writing skill section, each writing skill should take 10 minutes. You already have the options given. We will be discussing it once we open the PYQ. The options are always the same every year. So from home only you can decide which option you want to attempt in the paper. That will help you save time. The decision making will help you save a lot of time and you'll be able to complete your writing skills in 10 minutes. History of novel, all the 4 chapters, including your objectives and 3 chapters for your brief. Each chapter for 10 minutes, which comes up to 40 minutes. That makes up to 170 minutes and 10 minutes for your cross-checking, whether you have underlined your keywords, whether you have underlined the fill in the blank answer, have you written it in proper sequence, is there a question that you have left behind and you want to reattempt it. All of these are what you do when you cross check your paper, especially your writing skill format and your grammar answers. When you are in a hurry, you tend to write the wrong option or you tend to miss out on certain words while you are writing. So, all of that is supposed to be done in your 10 minutes for cross checking. That totals up to 3 hours or 180 minutes as written on the slide. Before we begin with the PYQ, we will just go through the marking scheme for your oral test. Now, it is very crucial that you score good marks in your oral exams because if you stop at, let's say, around 65, 70 in your written paper, the 20 marks for your internals, the 20 marks for your orals will add up to those 60, 70 mark and it will take you up to a good 80, 90. So you can score really good in your orals if you adhere to a few rules, like being confident when you are speaking, especially in your speaking skills. You need to be very confident, you need to be loud, your voice modulation should be on point. This is how we divide the marks, starting off with your writing skills. In your writing skills, the first thing we will do is we are going to dictate 5 sentences. These 5 sentences can have various figures of speech like alliterations, then grammar concepts like homonyms and homophones. So, similar sounding words, similar meaning words, tongue twisters, and all of these kind of sentences are what we dictate. So, we will be dictating 5 sentences, each sentence for 1 mark. The mark distribution is as follows: the ability to focus on the word. Let's say if I'm saying need, the one need is where you need the dough, and the second need is that you want something, you need something. So the ability to focus which word to be used when. Second is listening for details. Again, if I'm saying any tongue twisters like see, the water see, and the vision see, 2 different words. Accuracy of answers on understanding, whether you have understood the sentence, can you make your grammar, your punctuations correctly. All of these are your understanding level के basis के ऊपर your marks. Whether you're able to give a full stop, colon, apostrophe, exclamation, all of that will be taken into consideration. After the 5 sentences are dictated, the teacher, the examiner, might either dictate a story or a poem to you. If a poem has been dictated, then you will have 3 questions. The first question is, once the poem has been dictated to you all, you need to write down the gist of that poem, the central idea of that poem. Let's say if I give you a poem on motivation or something philosophical, then you have to write the central idea. It's of 2 marks, so your answer will also be for around 5 to 6 lines. Figure of speech, you don't only have to write down the figure of speech, but you also have to explain. Like, for example, if the given FOS is alliteration, then the meaning of alliteration is initial consonant sounds are repeated. Rhyming words, it's not rhyming scheme. So when I say rhyming words, I need you to write down bat, cat, or whatever rhyming words are there in the poem. How can you do this? Because it's going to be a big, huge poem. So while the teacher is dictating and you are listening to the poem, you can just write down the rhyming words in pencil. You can also write down the FOS, the figure of speech, if you are able to identify any while the teacher is dictating. So that is once the dictation and everything is done. Second, if not a poem, the teacher might dictate a story to you all, a short story. Once the dictation is completed, you will be writing down the answers on the first question, which is theme. Again, it's for 2 marks, so your answer should be a little lengthy, of approximately 5 to 6 lines. The moral value, whether what the story is teaching you, or whether it's teaching you kindness or whether it's teaching you not to be greedy and XYZ things, and your opinion on the story that had been just recited to you. So, whether you found the story interesting, what has it taught you all, how is it going to impact you in the future, how will you apply it in your life, all of these opinions you can write down in the last answer. Then, this is again for 5 marks, 5 marks for the poem, and 5 marks for the story. Any one will be dictated to you all, either poem or either story. And the 5 marks for your writing of the sentences, which clubs up to 10 marks. The oral is for 20 marks. So the remaining 10 will be for your speaking skills. Speaking skills may, the marks are divided as follows. Your comprehension, whether you have understood the topic or not. Sometimes the topic is environment and you start speaking on an entirely different topic. So the understanding of the topic, your preparation, whether you are confident, you know how to stand, your hands are not in your pocket or on your waist or anywhere. Then your tone, your vocabulary, whether you're using extensive vocabulary, you're using basic vocabulary. The voice modulation, your voice is able to reach to the person sitting at the back, even to the examiner. Then you have your content, novelty, and fluency, whether you are stuttering in the between or stammering somewhere, or you know your content very well, or you were able to pick up from where you left out or from where you forgot. And the last one is your composition, inference, and summarization. The way you conclude your given speech or a group discussion or XYZ, whatever you're speaking, maybe a poem or a story or a small incident, anything like that. How well you concluded is marked on the basis of these marking schemes. Now, in your orals, you have 2 options for speaking skills. You can either say a speech of your own choice or the topic that has been provided by the examiner. Or the second thing you can do is you can do a group discussion. A group discussion works this way that you are supposed to form a group of 3 to 7 people from your own batch. You will be divided into batches according to your hall ticket. So if you are in batch 1 from roll number 1 to 20, then your group should also be from that same batch. And a topic will be given to you all. You will be given some time also to prepare for it, or you can prepare it beforehand. And you conduct a group discussion. The GD information is given in your textbook also, and it has been relayed to the students previously as well. And two options, may say you can choose any one depending on your comfort level. If you are comfortable working in a group, you can go for group discussion. If you want to do it alone, you can give a speech or you can recite a poem or a story. Now, in group discussion, the time limit is approximately 5 to 7 minutes for the entire group. It's not that you are going to be marked as a group. You will still be marked individually only on the basis of how you are speaking, how your voice modulation is. And if you are giving a speech, your time limit is approximately 2 minutes. Once the timer for 2 minutes is up, please see that you conclude your speech so that we can finish the orals in the given time slot. Do not, keep on speaking or do not lengthen your speech into something more. Kindly conclude it so that we can give everyone a fair chance. This is your previous year English paper. Again, the same points are written on the instruction one. The same points are written over here as well, which we had just discussed earlier, that each activity has to be answered in full sentences, web diagrams and everything are to be drawn as per given in the question paper. All points in point above all of this thing that is their presentation and everything. If you do not draw the web diagram correctly, then you will be losing out on marks. We deduct marks or we do not allot marks at all if the diagram is not correct or if you have skipped the diagram and have written it in paragraph form. Multiple answers again are not accepted. And lastly, the same thing, that please maintain the sequence of your for questions. Do not attempt any other question first. Please go according to section 1, 2, 3, 4 only. If you do not know it or are not confident, you can always leave pages for it. This is the extract that has been given in your previous year paper. It is taken from the chapter Voyaging Towards Excellence. It is taken from the middle. I spent 32 years in information technology. Of course, we know who the author is and everything. This is your section 1, question number 1A. Please pay attention to the format as well. That is also something that we'll be discussing. This is your section 1, your prose section, scene passage, question 1A. In 1A, question 1A, scene passage, it is divided into A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, and A6. Then you have question number 1B, B1, and you have B2, which is spot the error. We'll go line-wise again from the start. In question number A1, like I said, that your first question is on the basis of your global understanding, whether you have understood the passage or not. If you have understood the passage, you will be able to arrange these statements into sequence, into proper sequences. Now, when you are writing the answer for this, please see that you just don't give me the options like 3, 4, 1, 2. Do not write like that. Write the entire statement along with the correct number. So if statement 2 is first, you're going to write down 2 first and the entire statement that he led major global multinational software companies. Aside from these, global understanding ke andar you have questions like pick out the proper, most appropriate themes. Then again, you have all of these objective questions only that we saw in testing comprehension previously. A2 will always be a flowchart or a web diagram. As far as possible, it will be this only. Again, taking up the point that we previously studied, key aspects of management, it is written in a square, in a rectangle in the middle, and four corners pay the diagram the web has been made. So in your answer sheet also, you will copy it the same way. You will not make any other structure aside from what is given in the question paper. Your answer will always be in a web diagram in 1, 2, or 3 words. Do not write sentences or paragraphs. It is not allowed. If you do that, we deduct marks or we do not allot you any marks, even if your context or your point is right. The answers are strictly to be in certain limited words. Now, key aspects of management, the fastest way you can find this answer is you can search for this word in the passage. It'll be somewhere over here. You will find that the answer to the key aspect of management has been written in 2 or 3 words. Once you find out that keyword, please see that you answer the web diagram only in 3 words at the most, nothing more than that. Your second question is a table. A3 is usually on an objective only, like a table, or let's say they'll give you a flow chart or something of that sort. A3 is on your comprehension of what you have understood, your factual questions. So when I say factual questions, I mean that, for example, let's say if we are taking up the chapter Why We Travel, then the answer for that question is directly there in your passage itself. Why do we travel? So that answer will be plain in sight in the passage only. It will be facts. There is nothing that you need to change about it. It is not similar to personal response also. So success as a writer, again, now this is a tabular format. This is not a web diagram. Web diagram is what we saw initially. This is a table. So in table, you are allowed to write your answers in sentences. 2 options are given to you, or 2 blanks are given. So please make sure that you write only 2. As discussed earlier, that multiple answers to the same questions will not be accepted. 2 ki jagah, if you give me 3 or 4, we will not give you any extra marks. In the other sense, your marks will be deducted for not following the instructions. A4 is your personal response. In a personal response, you have to state your opinion. If it's a yes or a no, then you have to give your reasoning that why is the given question a yes, why do you agree with it? And next is why you do not agree with it. So that is very important. Your reasoning for any of your opinion is extremely crucial. Please do not write answers in a way where you say that I agree with both. You can conclude it in that way, but please be clear whether you are in the agreeing stance or you are not. A5 is do as directed, textual. 2 options. There are 2 questions for this. The first one is I passed from IIT, and this is they're asking you to change the tense. So I have passed from IIT will be the correct answer for present perfect tense. We are doing it according to the formula for the tenses that is there. We've been doing it for a while now. I made a few mistakes but learned a lot about motivation. We are going to choose a complex sentence. Complex sentence requires a subordinate conjunction. So the second option that is there includes a conjunction and 1 main clause and 1 subordinate clause. So that is your base for complex sentences. So the second option is the correct one, that though I made a few mistakes, I learned a lot about motivation. A6, like I said, will be your vocabulary. In the previous slide, we saw what kind of questions can come for testing vocabulary. Over here, they are asking you to find out the words from the extract. So when they say extract, please see that you do not add words from your own vocabulary. These words will be present in the passage and you have to find it from there only. While writing, you can directly write the answers. If you do not have time, there is no compulsion that you have to copy the question for this one. Question number 1B is also divided into two parts. B1 is do as directed. These are non-textual questions, non-textual grammar. So the question says that Nandini said to Raj, where did you go during the holidays last year? And you have to change it into indirect speech. Instead of indirect, they can also ask you to change the reporting verb or the reporting speech. These are basically concepts of direct and indirect only, so it means the same thing. There is a small error in the question paper. Since it's an error in the question paper, there'll be no marks deducted even if you write the same answer. Last year ki jagah pe, in direct and indirect, we changed the year also, we changed the time. So this should have been previous year, which is not printed. So it is fine if it's a mistake in the question paper, then we will take it as correct only. Nandini asked Raj where he had gone for during the holidays. These are the four options that are given to you all, and you have to select the most appropriate option. Since the reporting speech is in past tense, then your answer will also be in perfect past tense. Out of the four, when you are writing down the answer, please do not write 1, 2, 3, 4. Give the number and write down the entire statement. The next one is tree planting became a natural choice. You have to form a WH question over here. Again, WH question ka answer has to be the word that is underlined. So in that way, you have to choose the most appropriate answer from the four options that are given to you all. Grammar in this sense will always come in option forms in your board papers. And again, while writing, please do not just write the number, write the statement as well. Like statement number 2, and then the entire statement, what was become a natural choice. The correct answer for this is what became a natural choice. The third one, if children don't play any games, they will become dull and lazy. Do as directed. They have given you a certain instruction. You need to follow that instruction. Choose the correct option from the given show or alternative showing the correct use of unless. Now, normally we tell you to begin the question answer with unless or something. Here the answers are already given. You just have to choose the best option that is there. So under unless ki jagah, you can, if you find all the answers similar, you can substitute unless with if and read the sentence using the word if. You will be able to find your answer. Spot the error and rewrite the correct sentence. Spot the error is a compulsory question. Question number 1B cut 2. So it is a compulsory question. It will always be there in your board paper. It is for 1 mark. You can score full marks over here. Usually the errors are extremely simple to identify. It's basically an article or prepositions or parts of speech like an adjective or a pronoun. In this case, it is degree of comparison. Here, the statement is she's more shorter than her brother. The error over here is the use of the word more. Since the given this thing that is there, adjective is already using the suffix er, more add करने की जरूरत नहीं है. So we will remove the word more and the correct statement will be she is shorter than her brother. Spot the error usually only has one error in it. There are not multiple errors. So please make sure that you find one solid error, and it is usually, like I said, it is degree of comparison, prepositions, articles, adjectives, parts of speech, etc. Singular, plural, and pronouns, all of these are the errors that usually come up in your paper. That is the end of section 1 ka question number 1. It is advisable that you begin question number 2 from a new page. Even if you have half a page left, or if you have quarter of a page, or if you have more than that also left, just start the new question on a new page. It is easier for the marking scheme. Question number 2 is your unseen passage. Unseen passage, again, your A1, the first question is on global understanding. You need to find out the theme of the extract. Now, again, it is given as statements. So that means there can be more than one statement which is correct over here. Statements is plural, so you can add two answers. This is a flow chart. Again, like we had discussed in the instructions, please do not change the format of the flow chart. If it is arrow and then three boxes are given to you, please make sure in your answer sheet also you make the same diagram. Do not change it into squares or into circles or into clouds. Copy it down as it is. It's a flow chart, it's not a web diagram. So here also one sentence answers are accepted only in web diagram. Web diagram is what we saw earlier. Beach mein there is a concept given to you all and then you have to complete the four options that are provided. That is what we call as a web diagram. This is a flow chart, so answers in sentences are acceptable. High rate of automation in job is given. You just need to find out the sentence that is there in the in the passage. Once you find this sentence in the passage, you will be able to see the rest of the answer nearby only. If I need to say high automation, you will find it here, the last paragraph, fourth line. After that, you just need to see which points fit after that. High rates of automation, then repetitive jobs go away as computer become more and more powerful. So your second point will be that computer is becoming more and more powerful. You are seeing rise in artificial intelligence and machine learning. Then there is rise of deep learning, which allows you to use new kind of technology called as neural networks. So all of these will become the next points for the flow chart that has been given to you. So the key to finding your answers quickly is that you find the keywords that are there in the question. You will be able to find the rest of the answers close to that keyword. Illustrate the idea of lifelong learning as mentioned in the extract. A3 will be your inference analysis, what you have or how you are analyzing that particular comprehension. For example, if I say that what is the author telling you, why is the author telling you this, or what do you think about the author from this perspective? So all of this is what we ask you in analysis. It is not a question that is readily available. It is not an answer that is readily available in the passage. You will have to think a little bit about for this answer and you'll have to add quite a few framings of your own. A4 is your personal response. A5 is do as directed, non-textual. Of course, since it's an unseen passage. He shared the example of iPhone passive voice. The sentence is in past tense, so you will be using was, were as your verb form and changing it into passive voice. The second question, the constant change will require constant learning and relearning. Like I said, whenever you're doing model auxiliaries, you're going to do it with the function. Here the quest do as directed shows that choose the correct option replacing the model auxiliary showing obligation. So if you don't know which model auxiliary performs the function of obligation, you will not be able to select the right answer also from here. So please make sure that whenever you are doing your model auxiliaries, you learn it with the function. What is the function of must? What is the function of will, can, should? What do all of these words do? A6 is your vocabulary. In the previous slide, we had already studied what kind of vocabulary questions you will be getting. This is match the following words given in column A with their meanings in column B. Match the following. Please avoid making all these lines like this. Do not do these lines or do not merely write down that A6 match and 1 ka A, 2 ka B. Do not do like this also. In all the match the following, please write down the question first. For example, you wrote entrepreneur and then you're going to do dash and write down the correct statement that is given to you over here. That is how you're going to attempt match the following if it is there anywhere in your paper. Question number 2B is your summary writing. Summary writing, the first thing you are going to do is give a title in the middle. Your title doesn't have to be anything very extravagant. You waste a lot of time thinking of a suitable title. Do not do that. You have the rest of the paper to attempt. So any simple title will also do. And if your mind is a little creative, you can come up with something creative as well. Write it in simple fonts only, whatever handwriting you are using throughout the paper, that only handwriting you will be using to write the title. After writing the title in the middle of the page, you will be summarizing the entire unseen passage that is there in, let's say, about 8 to 10 or 8 to 12 lines. The points are already given over here. So when you are writing the summary writing, please make sure that these keywords are present in your answer. Because as an examiner, if we have given you points, then we will be searching for these keywords also in your summary writing. So that is how you are going to attempt it. The mark distribution for summary writing has already been explained in the previous slides as well. Mind mapping also, you have two ways in which you can attempt mind mapping, which has been discussed already. uh, Out of the two, there are no compulsion that, or there are no this thing that if you do the first one, your marks will be deducted. Both of it are completely all right. Summary and mind mapping, both of these questions, please start on a new page. Question number, write it correctly. This is question number 2B, and mind mapping is going to be question number 2C. Start on a new page. You can use one entire page for mind mapping. You do it vertically, you do it horizontally. That is completely fine. It should be neat, presentable. Your words in that mind mapping should actually make sense. It should be related to the topic, developing English language skills. So you can write that in the middle. You can surround your mind mapping with things like reading, listening to podcast, or watching English movies with subtitles. All of these techniques you can write down. That is how you develop your English language skills. Uh, Again, your mind mapping on a completely new page, you can use the entire page. It will be drawn in pen only. Do not use pencil. If at all you are doing rough work for your mind mapping, at the end, please do not forget to erase your rough work. This is section 2. Again, advisable to begin the new section on a new page. Section 2 is your poetry and your appreciation. Again, in section 2, you have A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. And question number 3B, which will be your appreciation. Your poem is printed over here. You will never have the name of the poem or the name of the poet. You will have to learn that, memorize that, and go. The first question will always be on global understanding, how much you have understood of the poem at a whole. The second question will be based on your factual questions, whether you have understood the theme or whether you have understood how the poem is working. And the last question will be an analysis. You need to explain why the poet has written this. You need to explain whether the poet is doing the right thing or not. You need to analyze the poem and come up with an answer. That is how the three questions are divided. Again, if it's a tabular form, please see that you make the same table that is there. In each section, you have been given two options. Please do not add another option of your own. If you see an answer that, okay, this can also be an answer. If two is mentioned, we are only looking for two. Like the instructions, multiple answers for one questions will not be accepted. A4 is mostly figure of speech, it will be. Now, over here, the question always comes as name and explain. It's for 2 marks, so you have to identify for 1 mark and explain for 1 mark. Henceforth, I whimper no more, postpone no more, need nothing is an example of repetition. Even if you know your basic figure of speech, you will be able to identify it. Repetition, because the word no more is being repeated in one sentence itself. So 1 mark for identification and 1 mark for your explanation. You can explain it in the most basic language, but make sure that you are doing it. Otherwise, you'll only get 1 mark for identifying the correct figure of speech. Second way that this question can be framed is that instead of telling you to identify, they'll tell you to pick out an example of a certain figure of speech. Let's say the question is framed in such a manner that says that you need to pick out from the poem an example of antithesis, or you need to pick out one example of paradox from the given poem. Figure of speech, the most important ones, you will find it in your textbook. Before the poetry section begins, on the left hand side, you have a table. In that table, related to each poem, a certain set of figure of speech is given. It's a pink color table in your textbook. If you refer to that, you will be able to have a whole lookout that how many FOSs are there in your entire syllabus, how many FOS you have to cater to in each of the poem. A5 is compose a poem. Compose a poem, you have to make 4 lines at least. It is not compulsory that the poem is, holding a rhyming scheme or anything. You can just make a 4 line proper poetic lines. The topic will always be given to you. Or the other way in which this question can be asked is 2 lines will be given to you and you need to continue the poem by adding 2 lines of your own. So in this way also questions can be framed. Appreciation, start on a new page. I have already mentioned that the points for appreciation will be given in your textbook behind the poem. Aside from that, what you need to make sure is the length of your appreciation is approximately 1.5 page. There are 6 points or 7 points in total. You can write the point, like for example, theme, and then dash, and you write about the theme. Or the second way you can do it is just directly start writing that the theme of the poem is XYZ and make it into paragraph forms. So you can either make it point form or you can make it paragraph form. It's up to you. Appreciation, also the poem will be printed for you all, but the name of the poet and the name of the poem you will have to memorize and come. It's not mentioned in the paper. Section 3, please start on a new page. Each writing skills in the sections will be written on a new page. Section 3 के अंदर you have question number 4A, B, C, D. 4A has 3 options. Out of those 3, you have to attempt any one writing skill. The first option is virtual message. The second option is statement of purpose, and the third option is group discussion. So out of these 3, you have to attempt any one. And the most convenient to attempt out of all of these 3 is virtual message. If you don't know virtual message, go for group discussion. If you don't know group discussion, then you attempt statement of purpose. Virtual message follows a format. The format has been provided to you all. Catering to that format, only your marks will be allotted. Please see there are multiple formats readily available, but please cater to the correct one, which follows the board criteria. So first is virtual message. That is your most convenient option. If you're unable to attempt that, go for GD. If not GD, then SOP, which is your statement of purpose. That's for question number 4A. Question number 4B. Please see that you read the questions correctly. The or and everything can become very confusing. Sometimes you miss out where the B is starting and you take the B option in the A one. So you are in a very panic mode by the time you reach the writing skills because there's very less time left to complete all of this. So read the paper correctly. You do get time in the beginning. They give you 5 to 10 minutes to go through the entire paper. You already know that these options are fixed. You will always get virtual message, statement of purpose, and group discussion. SAE options you will get in your board papers, how it is written here. So from home only you can decide and come that, okay, I want to attempt a GD or I want to attempt a SOP. It'll save you time instead of thinking and instead of deciding at that particular moment what I want to attempt. Prepare for one topic thoroughly and come for the paper. Coming back to question number 4B, you have email writing, report writing, and interview. The most convenient one is interview. Then you can interview and email both. And then the last option, if you don't know either one of them, you can go for report writing. Always go for writing skills which follow a particular format. Interview mein format hai, there's a format in email. Report writing is a more of an essay type. It takes up a lot of time. You have to write 3 paragraphs, 1.5 page, and a lot of content and grammar in it. All of this, which follows a format, the format has already been given to you, so half your problem is solved over there. You just need to write a few things of your own to make it into a complete writing skill. Interview writing, please make sure that you draw the table as it is in your answer sheet. The question over here is that you have to conduct an interview for a famous singer. Aside from a famous singer, they can ask you for a famous actor, a Bollywood star, any famous personality, a businessman, a doctor, disabled person, or a famous police officer or a soldier. All of these are some of the common questions that that has been repeated throughout the years. Doctors, even surgeons are there. All of these writers, authors, filmmakers, directors. So these type of famous personalities are what they ask you or who they ask you to interview in the question paper. Please make sure as far as possible the name of the interview is actually real, as in the person exists. Do not make a hypothetical person or an imaginary one. So you will draw this entire table that is there as it is in your answer sheet. Wherever they have drawn a horizontal line, you will be drawing a horizontal line. Wherever they have divided, you will be making a division. It has to be drawn vertically, not horizontally in your answer sheet. Name of the interviewee, of course, depending on the question, famous singer, whichever singer you want to put in your interview. Area of success and reputation will be only in one word. You can either write down singer or at a whole, you can write down an actor. In the question, the area of reputation is already given. Date, venue, time. Date will be of any past date. Venue, you can take any school grounds like, XYZ school ground, or any stadium like Wankhede Stadium if it's a sports personality, or any radio channels like, Red FM or any radio channels where they interview. Or you can take up any quiet place that you know of, any grounds or anything where an interview can actually happen. Your venue needs to be logical. Please do not put illogical stuff in venues like your house or anything. Time is from your business hours, 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Any of the time which you find suitable. Avoid lunch hours. Take 10:30 in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Please take care of your AM and PM. Do not write AM in place of PM. It's usually a very tricky part when you reach the interview writing. You are in a panic mode and you end up doing these stuff. Duration of the interview, keep it from 30 to 45 minutes, not more than that. Write down any one time. You either write down 30 minutes or you write down 45 minutes. Do not give us an approx time. And when you are writing minutes, please write down the entire spelling, MINUTES. Do not write down the short form of minutes. Questions, the base are already given that you need to make questions on early motivation, professional development, so on and so forth, ending at mission and vision. This you will be writing it down as it is in the question paper. The space that has been given to you, you will be writing down your questions. Only questions, no answers. You can make this table from margin to margin. Like if this is your answer sheet over here, you can make the table from one margin to the other margin so that you get space to write your questions over here. Early motivation, do not directly start writing your questions with a WH question. Provide a linking statement. For example, everyone has some kind of motivation in their life. Who is your motivation or what is your motivation? So everyone has some kind of motivation. This becomes your linking statement, and then you are writing down your WH question. And always end with a question mark. Otherwise, we deduct marks if the punctuation is missing from the interview writing. Use of very formal language. Please do not use informal language like hey, what's up, and all of these slangs that we usually use. Email writing also consists of a format. There is no need to draw a table or anything for email writing. Even if you write it normally, that is completely fine. Question number 4C, you have speech, comparing and expansion of ideas. Speech should be your first choice. If you aren't able to identify the topic or anything, you can go for expansion. Comparing should be your last option. It's a very lengthy writing skills, approximately 2 pages. Speech ke andar also they have given the topic and everything. They have given you the word count. It comes to 1.5 page, 3 paragraphs. Then you have expansion of idea. The reason expansion is not the first option is because sometimes you do not understand the proverb that is written. They tend to give you confusing proverbs that you haven't actually heard of if you do not have a strong command over the language. So you first attempt speech. In speech, please start with a proper introduction. Good morning, good afternoon. Introduce yourself to the dignitaries, to all the heads and the principals and everybody who are present there. You can always end your speech with a proverb or a phrase or an idiom if you know any, or if any motivational line you know related to the speech, and always conclude it by thanking everyone who is present over there. Go in order. If there is any dignitary, then the principal, then the HOD, then the students, and if parents are also uninvited. Expansion of ideas, again, 3 paragraphs, 3 pages, 1.5 page. Speech also 3 paragraphs, 1.5 page. Comparing for 2 pages approx. After this, you have your next one, that is question number 4D, the last one. The first option in 4D was review. In review, please see that you will either be given book review or film review of your own choice. You can always prepare review from home of any of the film from your choice. We do not provide you with any particular film, but you need to prepare for two things. You need to prepare for book review also, and you need to prepare for film review also, because in your question paper they can ask you either one of them, but you need to be prepared for both. So that is review. That's the only drawback, that you need to prepare for two things. Otherwise you can learn from home and come and write it down. The film will always be of your choice. We will never provide you in the question paper. Next, if blog should be a first option, since blog follows a format. It should be, if you know the format, it is a very scoring writing skill. Appeal leaflet, the advertisement basically that you make. You have been making it since your 10th standard, I believe. So it'll be easier for you all. Blog and appeal are the most, you could say, easiest writing skills out of the three, but you have to attempt any one. From all the options of 4A, B, C, D, you will have to attempt any one, which comes up to a total of around 16 marks. And in total, I think it is the marks distribution are given in the first slide. So this way, you have to in total attempt 4 writing skills. Every writing skills is an option of 3. Out of those 3, you have to attempt any one. Please begin each writing skill on a new page. See that your handwriting is up to the mark. It is at least readable, because by the end you tend to it becomes difficult to write down such lengthy answers. Do not change the sequence of the questions. Please start with question number 1, section 1, and then come up to writing skills. If at all you do not have any creativity at that point of time, you can always leave pages. Then you have your section 4. Please start section 4 on a new page. It is your novel, your literary genre. The first chapter of your novel syllabus is history of novel. All objective questions will come from history of novel only. No other chapters will have any sort of objective questions. Fill in the blanks, MCQs, FIBs, true or false, find the odd one out, name the following, answer in one sentence. All the questions for these objectives will be from the first chapter, history of novel. So in the matter of what to study, all the names of the authors, which books they have written, which year, sometimes they ask you which century something has begun, or which movement was going on at that particular point of time. Like you have Virginia Woolf as the pioneer of stream of consciousness. Then you have certain immigrant authors also mentioned below, like Salman Rushdie and all of these. Then you have a particular part of Indian novels as well, Raj Mohan's Wife and all of these novels that are there. So you need to learn the authors and the novels and go, and you need to learn it very thoroughly. Then you have elements of novel, theme, plot, and all of these things. The first line of each element can be asked for true or false, one sentences and everything. Aside from the elements, there's types of novels, realistic novel, then the names from which it has been derived from. Certain words are derived from certain Italian root words, like novella is an Italian word, and novel has been derived from that. So all of these important pointers can be asked for your objective type of questions. Over here, pick the odd element. Odd one out is the objective questions. You need to write all the 4 options, and after writing the 4 option, you can just make an arrow over here and write down the right answer. or you can circle the right answer. In this case, theme, plot, and conflict are the elements of novel. So novella becomes your odd one out. Like that, you can either circle or you can make an arrow and write down the correct answer. But writing the question is compulsory. You have to write theme, plot, conflict, novella, and then whichever form you want to write down your answer in. The second one, question number 1A, ka second is true or false, and you need to rewrite them. That means you can give the correct statements also. Please see again that you write down the questions for it. Detective fiction is a subgenre of crime fiction. Pura sentence likho. Again, you can make an arrow down and you can write whether it's true or false, or you can make a hyphen over here and write down the correct answer if you have space. That is for your true or false question. Then you have question number 4B. That is your answer in 50 words to the questions given below. This will come from your second chapter, third and fourth. Second is To Serve with Love, is this. Around the World in 80 Days is this. And this is Sign of Four. So from these three chapters, you will be getting brief answers and your objectives will come from history of novel. So that is how the novel subgenre has been divided into. Now, your questions over here, there is no compulsion that it might come from only brainstorming. Sometimes they ask you from the middle of the text also, maybe a certain dialogue or maybe a certain incident from the middle of the text. But if you have learned your brainstorming, you will be able to answer these questions as well. So it is very vital that you go through the entire brainstorming, especially for these two chapters, Around the World and Sign of Four. Sign of Four has a few dates and years also that you need to remember. Around the World in 80 Days has certain time that you need to remember in order for you to know the wager and all. So please go through the brainstorming once. You'll be able to answer the questions. Usually the questions are on characters, major characters. List of major characters have been given to you at the start of every chapter. Minor characters ke upar we do not ask you character sketches. It can be on theme, certain questions on theme. Like explain the theme of this chapter, explain the theme of this. How has the theme been identified in this one? Then you have questions on comparison, whether you need to compare one character to the other character as well. Like how is Phileas Fogg different to Passepartout? Or how is Sherlock Holmes different from John Watson? So all of these type of comparison questions can be asked in your paper as well. The first question, write a short note on the significance of November 15th at Green Slate School. The answer to this is basically the first part of your chapter. That it is an event that is entirely organized by the students. It is held on the 15th of November, where the students give their own presentations and things like that. So that makes up for this answer. Furman's presentation focuses on the theme of racism. Furman is the student who had brought up that skeleton on stage. His point was that everyone, irrespective of their race, caste, and gender, are equal at the end of the day. Because at the end, you cannot recognize whether the skeleton is of a Chinese man or if it's a French man or a French woman for that matter. Describe the importance of Reform Club. Reform Club is the place where the wager had actually started, and it is used in the development of the plot because the wager started from there and it came to an end also at the Reform Club only. It was the place where Phileas Fogg was respected also, but at the same time, people were a little jealous and envious of him as well. Passepartout visit to the clergyman's house leads in the happy ending of the novel. The last part of the novel that has been explained that he realized that it was actually a Saturday and not Sunday as they had assumed. So that part of the chapter will become your answer for this. Your answers will be approximately for 8 to 12 lines. You can write more than that, but it is unseen of that you have so much of time. If you have time, your first preference should be attempting the entire paper. So if you have more content and you are short of time, leave space and move on to the next question. First, attempt the entire paper and then come back to the places that you have left. If your time is running out and you feel that you won't be able to complete all of these answers, then please provide a proper conclusion before finishing off your answer. That is extremely important. Conclude your answer properly if you are not able to add in more content. The last two are from Sign of Four, a very confusing chapter because it has a lot of major characters in it. Write in brief the message of a letter received by Miss Morstan. Miss Morstan is basically Mary Morstan. As we know in the story summary that she had been receiving letters, and in the last one, along with the Pearl, she received a letter to go meet Thaddeus at Lyceum Theatre. So that is the answer for this one. And like I said, character sketches questions also are asked. So here, Dr. Watson, who's one of the major characters, Sherlock Holmes' best friend. So his character sketch has to be written. When you're writing character sketch, please label or write down certain adjectives. Like for example, if I want to say that Dr. Watson was a very loyal friend. So loyal is my describing word, and then I have to give evidence from the text which shows that Dr. Watson was actually a loyal friend. How did you come to know about this fact that he was a loyal person, or he was an honest person, or he was a greedy person? There are always evidence in the textbook, in the syllabus. So if you are noting down a certain adjective, then note down the evidence after that immediately. You can give it in point form also, you can give it in paragraph form also. Answers for these brief questions can be allotted in any format. There is no compulsion as such. We put a lot of emphasis on keywords when we are writing down these brief answers. So always underline certain keywords which you feel will add weightage to the answers. So underlining will be done in pencil. Underline certain words. When I say words, I mean like this. You are not allowed to underline the entire sentence at a length. Please do not do that. Few words which you feel that are important and will add weightage to your answers, you can underline them using pencil. Rest all of the drawings will be done in pen itself. So with this, we have come to an end of your previous year question paper. Your format has been discussed, your writing skills, and the most important topics from your writing skills. You can decide from home only that you're going to attempt these four, and you can prepare thoroughly for those four or those three, whichever ones you want to attempt. Next, we're talking about Vidyalankar offering their MHT CET 2026 crash course. The program for the features of this program are that they will cover the entire syllabus if you're attempting for the paper. Second is that they will be providing you daily study plan also in case you're not able to form a timetable. It will be given to you. Daily tests with analysis of where you are going wrong, your strength and your weaknesses. Then we have last minute revisions that will be provided to you so that you can attempt and give your best during your papers. And all of this will be done under expert faculty and guidance. So your entire stress of going through the syllabus and preparing yourself for this exam will be taken up, and it will be divided into proper format so that you can attempt your paper properly. Aside from the features that have been provided before, what additionally MHT CET Crash Course has to offer is that they will be giving you papers with solution of all online sorts of PCMB. So since it's provided with solution, it becomes very easy for the students. You do not have to go to various websites or go to various channels to figure out the answers, and the explanation to the answers as well. Questions with solution on newly introduced topics. Every year, the education system adds on something or the other in your syllabus. So all the recent trends and all the recent topics with solutions and sample papers will be given to you all. Weekly and timely tests are also to be provided to you, which will add a booster in your preparation for the exam. And 5 online full syllabus tests with solution and performance analysis. Even though you give online tests, sometimes it is not very useful because the analysis for the tests are not there. And over here, we will be giving you complete analysis along with your weaknesses and strengths on what you need to improve and how you can do better in your entrance exam. That was it for the moderator session video. All the best to everyone who's appearing for the board exam. Thank you so much.